Hello and good morning here on this Diva Radio Liquid Conspiracy on this Sunday, November 8th, 2009 in Ordinary Time. You're here with DJ Emerald Koolant. And behind me playing is Farflung, a cool space rock band from LA. Tommy plays keyboards with Chrome and Helios Creed as well. And today I have a few announcements. Then we're going to have something special. An interview coming up, so do not go away, and some music by the same people. The band Daughters of Eve from 1965, and I have two members right here with me today, and you'll be hearing from them shortly. And I have Andee, the bass player and guitarist, but not for Daughters of Eve, she just played bass, and Debi, the drummer, and you'll be hearing from them soon. And I just want to say kudos to Jello Biafra and his new band that me, Crystal, and Cordy saw last night at Great American Music Hall. It was great. The Guantanamo Medics of Medicine or something like that with John Weiss on drums and other members, Victims' Family. Heck of a show. It was like old school but updated, and it's nice to see Jello keeping the politics going. Anyway, Leonard Peltier is a Native American political prisoner who was imprisoned 32 years ago for a crime he did not commit. To find out more about this travesty of justice and how you could help, go to www.leonardpeltier.org. And also, someone gave me a little note on the way up to the station, and I'm curious. It says, "Don't take the swine flu shot. It contains live virus and squalene and will infect you and others. Manufacturers have been granted full immunity against injury claims. Why, if they are so safe, why aren't we being shown the ingredients? Why are the vaccines approved without testing?" More info at labvirus.com. So check out that point of view and see what you think. Also, one other thing I wanted to mention here is the Navy is, and the U.S. Department of Commerce is doing a lot of warfare program testing in the Bay Area here, and it's affecting a lot of the marine and mammal and animal life. And we'll be talking more about this in future weeks, but right now, for more information, to check this out. This also indirectly affects the people who live on the coastal communities as well. And but to find out more about this, go to Rosalind Peterson. That's Rosalind Peterson. Email info at California Ask Why, or ask. I'll just spell it for you. Info at California AskYWATCH. I guess it's California Ask Skywatch.com. Or call 707-485-7520. That's 707-485-7520. And maybe if we could bring Farflung up a little in the background there, pilot, thank you. That's Cordy piloting the controls today, and we thank you for his help. And right now, we're going to be moving into today's planned event. And we'll be hearing a few cuts first from Daughters of Eve, and I'll be giving you a little more background, and then you'll be hearing from the Daughters of Eve themselves. So right now, we're going to hear two songs, and the first song was Hippie Hippie Shake, and the other song coming after that was Just a Little. So take it away and enjoy, and thank you for listening this week to Diva Radio Liquid Conspiracy.
The hippie hippie shake.
Wow, and those are the enlightening sounds of Daughters of Eve, and we'll be hearing from them in just a minute or two, but I just want to say a little blurb here I found in my folder today when I arrived. Spectra Pop presents Chicago's Daughters of Eve, the story of an all-girl band by Debi Pomeroy and Mick Patrick. And this band started in 1965, and it wasn't very in vogue then to have all-girl bands. You had some all-girl bands, and there was R&B stuff and all that, but these gals here were really pioneers, and the beat boom was pretty much a masculine domain. In the wake of the Beatles' guitar, bass, and drum combos sprang up in their hundreds and thousands all around the world. Nearly all of them were male, but not quite. New York, for example, boasted the all-girl Goldie and the Gingerbreads, little known in their home country outside of the Big Apple, but a chart act in Britain. The Liverbirds legends in Hamburg hailed from Liverpool. Where else? The Beat Chicks and Sally and the Alley Cats were British stock too. Detroit delivered the Pleasure Seekers, featuring young Susan Quattro and her sisters. Oh, I didn't know that. Crazy. Los Angeles laid claim to the girls. Well, that's getting right to the point. While Boston provided the Pandoras, which another band took that name in the early 80s to carry on the tradition of the garage rock, psychedelic, all-girl kind of surf guitar thing. And Florida begot the Bells. The garage rock hotbed of Chicago had contributed the Daughters of Eve. The subject of this story of an all-girl band is told by their drummer, Debi Pomeroy, to Mick Patrick. Now, I'm going to read a little bit more, and then you'll be hearing from them themselves. The Daughters of Eve were formed around Christmas of 1965 by their manager, Carl Bonafetti, that's right. He was managing a band at the time called the Buckinghams. Probably a lot of you have heard of those guys. And at the time, he was also DJ at a local hotspot called the Holiday Ballroom. He was interested in putting together an all-girl band, so put the message out, and he found Judy Johnson, Marsha Tomal, and a girl named Connie, their drummer. Connie did not want to go with Carl, so she left the band. Anyway, this goes into a whole plethora of how you guys formed and all that stuff, but instead of me just reading these dry words, I'm going to ask you guys to step up to the mic now. And I wanted to introduce first Andee, and what is your last name?
Hi, I'm Andee Levin.
Thank you for coming
Oh,
today.
thank you, Nykk, for having us. This is a lot of fun.
And
Debi Pomeroy.
Thank you for being here. And I heard that you guys, you played together in the band. You started in 1965 and into the late 60s, but as of like right now, you guys haven't seen each other in 20 years?
That's right.
That's
20
right.
years. It was a great reunion last night at the airport when Andee picked me up.
We have had a lot of fun these last few hours.
Oh, my
It's
goodness.
been great.
Wow.
A lot of reminiscing.
Oh, yeah.
Was that when you called me when you were waiting for her to
Yeah.
pick you up? Okay. It was right on. Well, I talked also to you on the phone the other day, and we were kind of interested too, and that's a really, really cool name, Daughters of Eve, and how that name came about.
That would be Debbie's
Yeah.
story there.
Actually, we were sitting in my kitchen in Chicago, and my dad was a Lutheran minister. And we were trying to find a name for the band, and my dad said, well, how about Daughters of Eve? Because we are all Daughters of Eve.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, Dad, that sounds too religious. But then more I thought about it, it really had a nice connotation to it. So I thought,
Sure.
Daughters of Eve, it really sounded great, because it was true. We are Daughters of Eve, you know?
Sure.
And you know, it's interesting because I had always thought that John Damascus found that name because he had been reading the Tales of Narnia, and
Really?
the Daughters of
Oh, I
Eve were
didn't know
mentioned
that.
in that. So that
John
was
Damascus was my old boyfriend.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Chronicles of Narnia is a favorite of myself and Phoenix Katsinger.
I
the
love
other
Chronicles
DJ.
of
Yeah,
Narnia.
so
That's great.
that's-
Daughters of Eve are a special group with powers. And
That's right. A very
Wow.
spiritual group.
Wow, well, great. We could need more of that in this draconian world, the way
Yes,
it's getting
we
more and
do.
more. But How about Carl Bonifetti? He's sort of a not as famous as Phil Spector or anything, but that he's definitely a name that gets thrown around and people hear about.
He's known as the Screaming Wild Man.
If you were in Chicago in the 60s,
Chess Records.
Yes.
You could not exist without knowing Carl Bonifetti. He was on the radio all of the time.
Constantly.
He did ads on the radio. He did... he was just a voice. He was the guy who could talk fast on the radio, and he knew everyone. He had connections, and so he just was very well known throughout the whole city.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. What a guy!
Wow.
And he's still the same, believe me. And he's, I think, in his late 60s now, but he doesn't sound any older than back then.
Wow. Well, I think
energy.
we're all in one way the foods we eat now are way more processed, but in another sense, we have more education about vitamins and nutrition and things. And I think people are making a conscious effort to live longer. And I think today's 50 is the new 40, as they say, and
exactly.
But, and 60 is the new 20, isn't that right,
just
Debbie?
About.
Hey, well, that works for me. I mean, hey, but and also I know you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just cracking up.
I know you guys haven't played in a while and aren't actually active, but with our sort of semi-new president's home, being Chicago's kind of in vogue now. It might be time possibly for a reunion or some kind, even a couple shows or recording. Or
well, Carl's been in touch with me. I've been in touch with Carl for about 10 years. And he wants to put the band back together so bad. In fact, more than ever now. And we'd love to do a reunion. I think it would be fun to do a reunion show. Mm-hmm. Because there's still a lot of fans out there that are really hungry for this kind of music. That they were so glad that when I finally learned how to use the internet about 7 years ago, I discovered all these folks out there that wondered what ever happened to the Daughters of Eve. We saw them play. I saw them play in Wichita, Kansas. I saw them play in Rapid City, South Dakota. I saw them play at Antoine's Ballroom. I saw them at the Holiday Ballroom. And all of a sudden I started getting all these emails. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you. Now I know what happened to the Daughters of Eve. And I've been in touch with them for many years now, the last 7 years, with a lot of fans. And I know that I got a call about 2 years ago from a guy who put together it was like a Woodstock, but it's called Goodstock.
Oh, okay.
And it's all the garage bands, and they wanted the Daughters of Eve bad. And I tried to convince the other girls, and I just wasn't convincible enough, And I think it would be a wonderful thing to have a reunion. And I love to play this old music again. I still play, drums, but I'd love to play these songs again.
Sure.
It would just be awesome to play these songs.
Something tells me that if we played them again, we'd play them even better.
Absolutely.
And you guys still look the part, too, no matter how conservative you tried to make yourself over the phone, Andee. You guys still could rock out.
Absolutely.
Very cute
Thank you.
But, and that's all, unfortunately, it's a big thing in our culture, and we sort of, unless you're Jello Biafra, and you could just, get by on your words. But Jello didn't look that bad last night, and again, that was a great show. Yeah, we went to see him last night, and it was the first time in 20 years he had a musical band, and it was really good. Yeah, and we kudos. John Weiss actually used to play with Elias Creed and Galaxy Chamber a long time ago. Our band. But anyway, I also wanted to mention too, you guys were some of the first pioneers for women. And since then, a lot has changed. Like a couple of years later, I mentioned to Andee over the phone the other day the band Fanny from 1969.
I know the girls.
I have the album, the one album where it shows their fronts on the front and then their backs on the back. Mm-hmm. And
June and Jean Millington, Nikki Barclay, Alice DeBoer, I knew them all.
And
I met them when they were first forming the band.
Yeah. Wow. In Hollywood.
Oh, my God. Yeah. And they were a little after you guys.
Oh, yeah. We were already... completely finished by that time that they started.
Daughters of Eve lasted, 1965 to... 2.5
years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like the bands that were in the mid and late 60s, and it was such a pop renaissance, like, you guys weren't around that long, but you're so timeless. Like, the Beatles, The Doors, Daughters of Eve, you guys... it's like you didn't have to... You made an impact in a short amount of time, and, it was such a special time.
Sometimes I think we're a little bit surprised about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I just can't believe the press that we've been getting. all over the world, as a matter of fact. We are very popular in Russia, Czechoslovakia,
Wow.
Spain, and Japan.
Wow, wow.
So there is a resurgence. I don't know if it's just this kind of music or the interest of the all-female band.
I think it's both the 60s and the all-girl.
The garage
coming out.
band is a new genre that they've created somewhere along the line about 7 years ago. Everything's garage band. And I read a lot of articles from other musicians from New York to London and California alike that garage band is now a genre of music. And there's a big need for it. People want this music.
Okay.
That's why Ace Records put some of our songs in their compilation. Gear Fab put The Daughters of Eve. Ace Records did a compilation of girls with guitars, and I think they put one of our songs in there called "Help Me Boy." I'm not sure if it's that one or
Yeah, it was Help Me Boy.
Help Me Boy, and Don't Waste My Time. I think.
And then
Or maybe you move closer.
and then there was the Illinois psychedelic.
Yeah, that's Gear Fab.
Yeah.
Gear Fab put out a compilation. In fact, I met with the owner of Gear Fab when I was in Florida.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he took me out to lunch. We had a nice visit, and they put out the Illinois compilation.
Yeah.
It's like psychedelia.
Illinois psychedelic music.
Yeah. And we're in there.
And then Sundays just came out with
That's
a
right,
compilation
2131, yes.
from all of the bands that recorded for USA Records.
That's right.
Wow. Rhino also releases retro stuff, and then they released the Nuggets and Pebbles series. It
Yes,
was all
yes.
Like, and I was good friends with Sky Saxon from the Seeds.
Oh, yeah.
He just died about 3 months ago, actually.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And but I was going to ask you too. Also, like there was bands in the late '70s, like Patti Smith and the Runaways.
Of course.
What you guys think of them, or do you?
Well,
you
I
know?
actually, when I first came out to California in '69, I got with to make a living. I was playing music also, but I was also a studio musician for Criterion Publishing Company. We would record the demos for these songwriters so that they would get all the songs to like Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett. We were the ones that played the music so that they had the sheet music, but they could actually hear what the song would sound like. So Michael McDonald, if the Doobie Brother fame, that's where I met him, and we played together for a while. But they had not a rehearsal, but like a storage area in the back, and I was back there, and I used to leave my drums there so I could practice. And one day I was practicing away, and there was a knock at the door, and a tall guy walks in, and he said, "I'm Kim Fowley." And he says, "Oh, wow, I had to come and hear who this drummer was. You sound great. What's your name?" And then he says, "Yeah, I'm putting together a band. I'm going to call it the Runaways." He goes, and I said, "Oh, really?" And I'm just listening to the guy. He goes, "How old are you?" And I said, 21. He goes, "Oh, too bad you're too old."
Oh my! Wow, what a story!
So Sandy West got that gig, God rest her soul. But, it wasn't meant to be, But the funny thing is, in the Daughters of Eve years ago, we were looking for a bass player, I think it was. It was a guitar player, because we were having problems with Judy and her folks and everything, because we were all really young. And this guitar player showed up. She called Carl. Carl was running an ad. So she shows up at the rehearsal, and she had a beehive hairdo. So Carl took us aside and goes, "I'm going to find out how old she is. I think she's too old." So she asked her how old she was. She was 26. 26.
Wow.
I was 15. So it reversed itself over the years. All of a sudden, I became too old to play in a teen band. And I mean, it's a great story when you think about it.
Wow, that is a great story. And I was when I was talking to you, Andee, on the phone earlier this week, you had mentioned the story of how you joined Daughters of Eve and how you were actually playing guitar in a beatnik in college, and you showed up. And,
I wasn't in college. I was only 15 years old.
In high school, actually.
I think you were 14.
I might have been 14 at the time.
me.
That's
Wow.
right. And I was very much into folk music, so I was listening to Bob Dylan and Joan Baez, and I was the beatnik in high school.
Buffy St. Marie.
Buffy St. Marie, that's right. I wore all black just about every day to school, had the long hair.
Flowing, straight hair.
Okay.
She was cool.
But Debbie's brother was also into folk music at the time, which was very cool. Justin
and I went to the Old Town School of Folk Music together.
Oh, wow.
And so, Justin and I met at high school, and oh my gosh, you love folk music, and I do too. And he was like, I thought he was like a Bob Dylan lookalike.
And you guys were
So-
wearing the black beatnik Sort of.
All beatnik.
So it was
yeah.
sort of like the first generation of goth, but the music was different.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
exactly right.
Beatnik
It
wear all
was.
black.
Yeah, it was the beatnik scene. There was this was also the first generation of coffee houses.
Yes,
Sure,
right.
sure.
You know, so we had a coffee house in the neighborhood.
That's where the teens would go. No exit.
Oh, and the
Yeah,
hootenannies.
We
Okay,
had a
so
hootenanny, right?
yes, so then Justin invited me over to his house, and with their father being a Lutheran minister, they lived in the house adjacent to the church, and they had a big basement. And so Justin would arrange for all these friends to come over and play music, and those were our hootenannies. And so we played folk music.
We would go down to Old Town, which was like the Greenwich Village
Of Chicago.
Okay.
And we would recruit folksters. And and they would come down, and we'd love to play at your place. And we had it set up like a coffee house situation. We had a stage, we had the lighting, because Justin had all those
that's
crazy
right.
lights.
Yeah.
We would serve sodas and coffee and popcorn and stuff. And my parents were really into it because they knew, and everybody loved it in the neighborhood because all the kids would go there, and they knew where their kids, the teens, were.
Sure.
It became like the hot teen spot that summer. Remember?
Oh my gosh, it was so much
Handy
fun. We did that.
Reckinger, remember
We did
her?
that every weekend.
Every weekend.
Every weekend.
That whole summer. It was wonderful.
It was great.
See, I missed that, and our generation had that into the mid-'80s here with the punk scene. We'd go to the farm like 2 or 3 times a week, and it didn't matter what band was playing. Some bands had more people than others, but there was always a crowd because it was a scene.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like you're paying all this money to see a band coming in, and it was all disconnected.
Wow.
And that's so
it was-
cool.
it
And
was
I'm sure it
very
was
cool.
even cooler then because it was farther back in time.
Oh, it was a lot
less
of fun.
involuted,
But that's
so.
how I met Debbie.
Wow.
And then, somehow, I don't even know actually how Debbie was recruited by Carl Bonafetti.
Well, that's another story. My brother had a band,
Okay.
and he was jamming. He was into the electric music then, and I was just learning how to play drums. I was still a guitar player. I played lead guitar in a surf band,
Okay.
and so I came home from school one day, and I heard the music in the basement, and there was my brother jamming with this drummer. And I noticed John Damascus.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that the drummer didn't have any shoes on. He played in his stocking feet. I thought, well, that's different, So then my brother saw me sitting there on the stairs, and he says, "Come on, Dad, why don't you sit in and play something with me?"
Oh, what a cool brother. That's
yeah.
it doesn't usually happen.
Oh, he's cool. Well, and so I said, okay. So I sat and played some songs, and that was John Damascus on the drums, and he said, "Wow, you play good. I've never heard a girl play the drums." So we started talking. We became really good friends. Well, one day in school, we went to the same high school. He's walking around the hallway, finds me, and goes, "There's my friend Marsha's got a band. It's an all-girl band, and they're looking for a drummer. Would you like to audition?" And I said, well, yeah, but I don't have a drum set. And he goes, "Well, you can use my drums."
Wow.
So I don't know how we got out there. I think maybe my dad must have driven us out there with the drums, and I set up, and I said, well, I don't know how to play songs on the drums. He says, "Don't worry about it. I'll be in the back. I'll be coaching you." So he'd stand back there, and when we were going to do Twist and Shout, it's an old Beatles song.
Oh, yeah.
There's a part where the tom-toms, it's just tom-toms. He'd go, tom-tom. He'd start pounding away on his legs and his thighs, and this is the beat. This is the beat.
Sure.
So I said, okay, I can do that. Next thing you know, Carl goes, "You're hired." He goes, I said, "But I don't have drum set." He says, "No, I'm going to tell your parents. They got to buy you a set of drums." And that's how he used to talk. You just got to have some drums. So sure enough, he went home to my house that night and told my parents, she's not a guitar player anymore. She's a drummer.
Wow.
So my dad took me down to Drums Unlimited in Chicago on Michigan Avenue, and I picked out a set that looked just like Ringo's.
Wow.
So then the girls started practicing at the church.
That's right. Well, Marsha's house, basically. Remember Marsha's basement?
But they, at one point, were
Yeah,
going
we
to
did
be
practice
at your
it.
church.
That's right.
At your dad's church, practicing. And so our friend Sue and I decided to go over. We were going to go see them. And we get there, and Marsha is there, and Judy is there, and you're there, of course, Debbie. And the bass player did not show up. And Carl, being, major type A personality,
wild
the
man.
screaming wild man. I mean,
I know people like that.
He is pacing back and forth. He's swearing. That bass player. This is not the first time she's done it. That's it. We
She's
got to get
out.
rid of her. She's out. But what are we going to do? How are we? And I'm figuring, oh my God, this man is going to have a heart attack at any moment. Well, I know how to play guitar. I'm sure I can play bass. okay. So I said, well, how about if I just fill in? I'll play bass while, so the girls can practice.
Didn't we have a guitar in the bass? Because Rick Kahn's bass.
Yeah, you had a bass there from your brother's band.
And
so
Wow.
I picked it up, and that
She was
was it.
great.
I just
She was a
started.
great bass
I
player.
just
Wow.
started playing it. I had never played bass
But
before
Andee's
that day.
musically inclined, and she just had that natural ear and a gift for playing, and it was great.
Well, she was telling me you give piano recitals and teach piano now for
I've been
30
teaching
years?
piano
or?
for over 30 years
Wow.
now. Yes.
Wow.
So I know my music.
Yeah, she did.
Our drummer's like that. Bill, he's in his... he's been doing it for a while, and he composes and gives lessons, and it's really fun.
Oh, I have a great time with my students. I really do. I just adore them.
Great.
So anyway, yeah, I played bass, and then that was it. Carl got on the phone to my parents, and at the time, I was really asking my parents, I would really like a 12-string guitar for my folk music. And no, I ended up with a bass guitar instead.
Right on. Well, I was thinking maybe we'd play some more music for the next 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, great.
And then talk again, and then it'll probably be almost time to exit, and then maybe we could leave them with something. But
Great.
we have another 30 minutes.